There's
I didn't do it.
rip
I
out
was trying to
man's
play the
eyes
game.
and testicles and replace them in each other's spots.
What are you talking about?
I have no idea what's even.
I was
going
actually
on.
trying to pay attention. I have no idea what you're talking about. But
Actually trying to pay attention.
yeah.
It's a card game called Cards
Alright.
Against Humanity.
Well. Okay. Sounds fun. Sounds wonderful.
Popping into a vagina, that's what was one of them.
All right. Okay. So, anyways,
Moving on.
I was recording that, just so you know.
That's how it should start. Baby fetuses.
That's where I'm going to start it. I hope you enjoyed that talk.
Welcome to LudoLingo. We're having a lot of fun here, folks.
Yeah, that's all we ever talked about. So, I think we should totally talk about PlayStation Plus because of how awesome it is. So, first of all, I just want to say that I'm just going to list all these free games that have been given over the past while.
Do we have time
This
for
is
that?
not an advertisement.
Oh no, we have time
I
for
have a
this.
question. Why do you smack your lips whenever you
I know, Jesus Christ.
I'm smacking my lips.
You go
You're
like,
like,
all right.
okay, so.
He's licking his lips because he wants to play Dark Souls.
It's like
Thank
Dark
you.
Souls taught.
Somebody
Like Demon
mentioned it,
Souls,
I
like
didn't
you
have to
finally
do it.
mentioned Demon Souls.
Yes, I didn't even have to mention
It's
it
on
myself.
PlayStation Plus.
That's true. That's one of the games that I have written down here. So I'm just going to quickly go over these games. First, you got Infamous 1, then Infamous 2, Little Big Planet 1, Little Big Planet 2, Spec Ops The Line, Vanquish, Ratchet & Clank All for One, Demon Souls, Resident Evil 5, Plants
Do
vs.
you not
Zombies,
sound like a douchebag?
Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine, which is an insanely
better.
terrible game, Just Cause
I heard
2,
it was good, actually.
Shift 2 Unleashed, Darksiders, Super Street Fighter 4. You got smaller games like Trine 2, Awesome Knots, Closure, Super Stardust HD, Dead Nation. You got some Vita games like Gravity Rush and Uncharted Golden Abyss and Wipeout 2048 and Ninja Gaiden Sigma Plus.
Trying to break the speed record.
And you've got a bunch of, whenever they do sales in the PlayStation Store, it's like when they do a 50% off, sometimes they'll just be like, when PlayStation Plus is 65% off, which is nice. I got discounted on like new games, like Guacamelee came out and it was $15, but with PlayStation Plus it was $12, so it's just little differences sometimes, which is nice. There was this one article about, what was it, like, well, I'm going to it. I'm going to talk about it because I know what it is, okay? So, yeah, they like polled people on what, actually it was the European. They polled Europeans about what they wanted to like get for free, like the genres they wanted to get for free. And apparently, it's kind of awesome. RPG and action adventure were the top, above shooters, which is nice. People don't want shooters that have PlayStation Plus because people that have PlayStation Plus aren't people that are just playing shooters.
People
To be fair, shooters aren't that very big in Europe, so...
People.
Yeah,
That's
also,
true.
one thing you should mention is the games you listed off, that's only the US PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
They're all different for Japan and Europe. Like, Europe got Mass Effect 3, Dead or Alive 5, Red Dead Redemption.
Hitman Absolution.
Yeah, exactly.
Bulletstorm, Arkham City, Deus Ex.
Is there any way you can
Solid
trick
HD
them
collection.
into thinking you live in Europe?
Yeah, you can.
Yes, you make a Europe account and buy Europe
That's all you have
Plus.
to do.
You can also use
You have to
PayPal.
buy Europe Plus. I'd buy it.
Thinking about doing it. I don't know.
You should just be able to pay $20 to add or like pay an extra $40 to add the European Plus to your account.
I know the Japanese one sucks, though.
Yeah, I
They got-
have.
They got God of War 1 and 2, and that was about it.
That's it. So here, has one God of War.
Yeah, I'm just
Probably
looking.
isn't
It
that
says
popular.
it says God of War 1 and 2 Vita selection left much to be desired, consisting of one title, Sumioni Demon Arts.
I've never
That's
even
not
heard of
good.
that.
I think that's only for the like first few months. It says now that there's more stuff, but I'm not seeing. Oh, there's Neo Geo Classics. Like what? Okay, whatever. So if you're in Japan and you're listening,
It's
to this for
alright,
some reason-
Japan doesn't buy Vitas.
Well, I guess Cody is.
Japan doesn't buy Vitas? I thought that was where they're
Yeah,
biggest.
Japan's. Yeah,
The biggest in Europe and North America, though.
No.
No!
Vita is selling way more in Japan than any of the other places.
I don't think so.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
like by
Is it?
Japan's like a
4 times.
hardcore Sony fanboy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they just started selling more because they did a price drop
Yeah,
on the
that-
3G model. So it was like right when they did that, it was like along with I forget which game it was, but along with that game, it was like 60,000 in 1 week, which was like 400% increase.
Which still isn't even good, but
now it's down to like 20,000 a week, which isn't bad for the
That's
Vita.
twice the Wii U. That's twice the...
yeah.
When would Africa gets?
What?
Don't go there.
Did you say you want to have grandkids?
So anyway.
Okay.
They said something about Africa.
I did.
Oh,
What does Africa have to do with anything?
well, he'll make Africa have to do with everything.
An Africa game. That's it.
All right. Well, do you all have PlayStation Plus? Do we have a full
Yep.
roster?
I got it.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. That's beautiful. Oh, I'm proud. I'm very proud.
You're proud.
I am.
I'm just cheap and I don't feel like spending money.
So you spend money?
I had to get
$50 and I get free games.
Yeah, you get a big free game every month. Like, you could be set just with playing stuff from PlayStation Plus.
It's like, if you're getting, like,
I am
especially
set.
because they bundle it with the new, like, you buy a PS3, you either get a month, or, 3 months, or, like, the bigger bundles have, like, a year of PlayStation Plus. They're literally giving you so many games. Just
literally giving you, except you
immediately. Just immediately. Not, whatever. Yeah. But, I don't know. I think they should advertise
literally
it more.
giving it to you for money.
I don't know. I think, like, people that don't know about it don't know about it.
that would make sense.
I didn't think about that sentence correctly.
Yeah.
I don't
It
think
was a good sentence, though. It really turned out well.
Yeah.
I like the end.
I mean, no, I mean, like, they should market it more, because I don't think people realize when it says, oh, you get a month of, or 3 months of PlayStation Plus, they don't realize that they're getting, like, kind of important games, like
I remember
Infamous.
friend-
And,
Well, the thing is, they are marketing it more because I'm pretty sure they have like standees at game stores now that have like all the PlayStation Plus games that you get and stuff,
Yeah.
and they're alternated each month with the new games.
that's cool. I haven't seen that, but
Well, I think one of the big things is I got an argument with my friend. We were talking about PlayStation Plus versus Xbox Live.
oh,
Well, the thing was, he
Why were
always
they even?
thinking about it because he's talking about, he's like, well, I get discounts on Xbox Gold, and we're like, well, yeah, I mean, I get free games. Like, well, I get some free games sometimes. Like, well, like what? And I remember the game, but it was some like silly Xbox Live arcade game, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I mean, I fucking got Borderlands for free, and there's all these different games and shit. And then he started to think like, oh wow, you get all that, and people really don't know about this.
When he said, I get discounts on Xbox Live, I thought he was saying, like, I pay this so I can pay less for this.
yeah, for it next time. If I buy it right now, I'll get $10 off in a year.
Microsoft sent me like $1.
It's like I can't wait for my 20 Microsoft Point birthday present.
Oh man.
It was kind of like an advertisement for PlayStation Plus. Is there anything else you want to say about it? That's not just selling it, basically.
What else is there to
I
say?
think it was last year, IGN added up everything and it was like over $2,000 worth of stuff in 1 year
Yeah.
for $50.
That's
So
insane.
if you don't have it, get the fuck out.
It's like, yeah,
Shut
I
up,
don't
Michael.
see a point in not having it.
If you have a PS3 and you don't have it, then, or a
Just buy
Vita,
it. You have an Xbox.
Especially,
you know,
like, I don't know.
but I can understand if you don't have,
Especially people that are willing to just buy Xbox Live. Like, the fact that it's the same price. Actually, Live is more. No, it's $10 more. That's so stupid. If you actually compare them.
Wait, it's $70 now?
60.
No, it's 60. It used to be 50.
Oh, okay. As long as I've known it for, it's been 60. So.
It was 50, I think, a couple years ago. Or up to a couple years ago.
I get $1 a month, so I don't complain.
What? Okay.
I don't know. But,
Next topic.
I mean, you're not going to get $2,000 worth
No.
of stuff. It's not, well, you could, but it's not going to appeal to everyone like all the games. So
Well, yeah, especially because that's
still.
counting, like, discounts, meaning that you'd have to buy everything anyways.
I was kind of skeptical at first. Like, I thought it was just a service kind of thing where you just get a couple of extra features, like, I don't know, cloud storage, which wasn't really interesting to me. And then I didn't realize you get a ton of games. So, yeah.
Well, here's something interesting. How do you think it's going to play into PlayStation 4? Because they can't just be like, oh, here's all the launch games for free.
I feel like there may be some smaller games, but then they may also tie it into a subscription type model with, once they get that emulation up with Gaikai where you can play like all the PlayStation
That's
games.
definitely
on
true,
PS4,
yeah.
then it could be like pay that amount, and then you have like the whole library or like a certain amount of games from the entire library that you can just play for as long as you want.
Do you think
I hadn't thought about that.
Do you think they'd do something where like you could pay a certain amount and get
All PlayStation
any
games?
PS1
That's
games,
what I was thinking.
or like
of.
pay a certain amount and get any PS2 game, then any PS3 game for different prices, or like pay this
what
one?
They might do, like, this is what I could imagine. They might have, like, make a monthly subscription service, or, like, you know, pay the full year, and every month they'll get, like, credits, and you can unlock a new game with each credit or something like that.
Yeah.
That seems, like, logical to a point. I doubt they just give you, like, every single game in the library, but I
don't think they're going to have PlayStation Plus out of the box just because
Well, they can't
there's
just.
not going to be games to support it at the launch. Because they can't have PS3 games running on the PS4 right away, so...
If it just... They can't just stop it, though, because then people are going to be like, I just bought PlayStation Plus 2 months ago, and now I bought a PS4, and it's useless.
Is it the
They'll
same
keep going for a long
subscription for PlayStation 3 and 4, though?
Well, they haven't said.
You have to assume so. Because it's tied to your account, so you assume your account and trophies
true,
carry
I
over.
suppose. They could always just give you PS3 games still. Like,
That's what I'm
they just
thinking.
did that 1 year deal, and that would overlap with the release of the PlayStation 4, so it's not like they're just going to stop on PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
And they've said they're continuing it on the PlayStation 3, right?
They probably will. I assume so. Like, they'll keep going like how they're doing now. You'll get like a new game every month because they're not going to stop making PS3 games when the PS4 comes out either. They're going to like keep it going for at least a year or two after.
Yeah,
which is
I'm sure the
great.
store will still be connected, so I mean, you'll be able to download everything from the store, so you still get the PS3, PS2, and PS1s, just, you know, it doesn't play the discs anymore.
Yeah.
They also said it's not backwards compatible, like, for the disc, but does that mean that they can't, like...
The stuff on the store, you can't play it either because it's designed to be used with the cell processor
Exactly.
on the PS3.
Yeah.
But what they said was they were gonna like try doing that emulation type thing, so
Through
you
the
could
cloud.
play every game from PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 3 on your PlayStation 4.
And that would require a lot of time of work.
Yeah, they didn't say that was going to be ready at launch, though.
No, but
No?
like that's a big part of what they're using Gaikai for, is to try and do an emulation and like streaming everything over that as well as like streaming it to your Vita. But
All right. Does anybody want to talk about the Wii U?
Does anyone have a Wii U?
I don't know too much about it, to be honest.
Neither do I.
I mean, I know...
for this year's
all I've heard-
E3, but
All I've heard is that like third-party devs are dropping it left and right, which is sad because one, that's obviously gonna hit Nintendo hard. I don't know how hard because they've always had support from like families and stuff like that. But it's just like when you're a developer, you can see it from their perspective. They've been coding on like PlayStation and Xbox tier systems for ages, and they want to like move to these next-gen systems because they're easier to code for one, and two, they can just like make their conception of what their game should be come alive more accurately when you're not restricted by what, like 250 RAM. That's ridiculous compared to the RAM that's going to be on next gen and PC.
well, the thing is, like I've always found with Nintendo,
Doesn't the Wii U have 2 gigabytes of RAM though?
That would be awesome. I don't know about that.
I'm
but,
pretty
like,
sure.
it still,
I'm pretty sure it's up there
Search it.
it still seems like that.
because it has to run all that stuff in
Losing-
the background.
Yeah, they're losing a lot of support.
CVI.
from third-party
shop
devs.
down, you know.
with Nintendo, I've never like thought of like when I've had a Nintendo console, I've never been like, okay, I'm buying this and I'll play third party. I don't think I've ever owned any third party game on Nintendo.
That's
Like,
what I was thinking.
I buy that to play Mario and Zelda and Smash Brothers. Like
Well,
that's
that's true, but,
But
you're
it's
not their
still
intended
nice to have the
demographic.
support
Yeah,
from
they're
other
looking
parties.
they're looking at people who buy the Wii U for like their kids or something, and so their kids are gonna want to play like Mario and stuff
Call of
like that.
Duty.
Yeah, but
they're going to want to play Call of Duty as well.
they're
and
also
stuff,
going to want to
too.
branch out to other games. It's still going to hit them.
It's also kind of weird because that's how they were advertising the Wii U. They're like, all right, finally we're actually going to get third-party support, and look at all these games from last year that are going to be on our system. But now it's like nobody cares. It's
Yeah,
like,
we
oh,
already
that was
played
that was fun.
It
While it
doesn't help
lasted.
that a lot of someone.
this year's E3. I'm actually excited for because there's a brand new Legend of Zelda. There's a new Mario Kart. There's a new Super Smash Brothers. There's a new 3D Mario. Like there's all this new stuff, and like this E3 kind of I feel like this is where all their games are.
They also dropped out from having a big press conference.
But now they're having two smaller ones, one for the public and one for just developers and the press.
Yeah, I don't even get how that works. What's the point of... I seriously don't get the point of that. But
To bring the attention towards them, more of the attention at them.
Well, because there's going to be two brand new consoles. They're like, we're not going to have this big press conference because it's not going to matter.
Well, I guess.
I'm actually kind of scared a little bit for E3 just because of the fact they moved Last of Us the day after it ends. Because I feel like they're going to hype it up as much as possible during the thing. Like they're going to have a huge section dedicated just to Last of Us. And look at all of this. Look at all this gameplay. Look at everything we're showing you. And then we're going to do so much about it in the game comes out.
I don't want to hear any more about that game just because I kind of know quite a bit, and I would like to keep.
Actually, I feel like I've seen a lot of stuff, but honestly, I don't feel like I know anything about the game at all. I mean, I get how it plays. But what they've shown is basically been more of the same. Like, they've been pretty iron lip about this entire game.
Story stuff?
Which is great, yeah. You don't want to give away too much of the story.
I looked up the Wii U RAM, by the way, and it says has 2 gigabytes. 1 gig is allocated to system functions.
Woo! Got it right.
1 gigabyte is for games, so...
But it's not too much compared to the new systems.
Well, still, like, the Wii U doesn't have, like, this blockbuster, insanely... like photorealistic graphics. It doesn't need as much RAM to power it as, say, like the 8 gig that's in the PS4. It just doesn't.
That's true.
I feel bad.
They've never been one for pushing hardware. At least I don't think they have.
Well, this is what happens with every console for them. So know.
I don't know if I can't tell if I don't like Nintendo anymore or if they just aren't good anymore. I keep getting confused thinking about that.
I would say you just don't.
I'd say you just don't like them. Yeah.
Yeah, because the 3DS is
the 3DS is doing awesome,
kicking ass.
Except I have no interest in anything on there, so I think I just don't care anymore.
Too, so.
You've just grown out of Nintendo, that's lots of people have.
Yeah.
I would like to get a Wii U for the new Mario because it's more of a nostalgia thing when I think about it. I was just like, I want to play all these Mario games because I had so much fun playing Mario and Zelda and Smash Brothers beforehand.
That's another topic.
Zelda can only take you so far.
That's another topic that we could get into if you really want to.
Problem is, I don't want to be
nostalgia and how it colors experiences.
Oh yeah, I had that written down. That's one of my topics. I was like, people are influenced way too much by nostalgia.
It's true. Like I rebuy games that I've.
If you want to talk about it,
what?
If you want to talk about it, I've got an opinion, but go ahead.
Like built on the tiers of Nintendo nostalgia fanboys and people who own PS3 know Nintendo games anymore.
For some reason, I don't know what you just said.
Oh boy,
that's nice.
3D Dot Game Heroes.
Yeah.
So it was built off of the tiers of like Nintendo fanboys who bought a PS3 but don't have any new Nintendo consoles.
That's a different analogy. That one.
I mean, I bought it just because I wanted to try it out. I mean, I have Nintendo anyway, but I was playing it, and I could not finish the game. Like, I got to the giant bumblebee boss, and I stopped right there because, like, for one of the biggest problems was the overworld theme was so much like Zelda's actual theme. I kept wanting to sit there and hum it, but I'd get it wrong because it's not Zelda. And fuck this, no.
That's an 8 out of 10 right there. Keep bringing it down.
Well, okay, so if we're actually going to talk about this nostalgia thing, I wanted to say something.
Okay.
My problem is that people always get... I just did that thing with my lips again, but people always get so, like, hyped up and defensive about older games, and it really annoys me. Like, when... the best example I can think of is Pokemon. People are always like, the new ones are not good because they aren't the old ones, and that's the only reason why. Because I played the first ones, and I don't like it anymore, so they're not good. And people say that with it's I don't know, it's a lot of the Nintendo thing.
I don't think everyone's Pokemon. Like because they're not the old ones. It's just I personally think the new ones look like shit. But
but why? There's no reason to.
I think it's the Pokemon design.
Yeah, but that's because of nostalgia, because you're used to the first ones.
No, not just
you can only design so many monsters over time. After a while, they start to look stale.
Like, it's not like that they don't look like the old ones. Like I like all pretty much all gen except for like these ones. I think just really don't look good. And it's not like because they don't look like the other ones. It's just they don't look good.
But see, what I would say to that is if Generation 5 or 6, well, whatever, I don't care about 6, it's not out yet. If the Generation 5 Pokemon were the Generation 1 Pokemon, you would be literally saying the exact same thing about the Generation 1 Pokemon coming out now.
No, not necessarily.
I really think
flip
you
them
would.
around because like they built Generation 5 on the same concept as 1 because that's why you could not catch any of the original Pokemon in Generation 5 until after you completed it. They wanted to give you that same kind of feel that everything is brand new and fresh. And I mean, I can guarantee anyone who played Black and White, like let's say Black and White was the very first game that came out, and then Red and Blue were the Generation 5. I can guarantee the ideas be flipped. Like, oh, it's not as good as Black and White because they're not original. I mean, if you look at Voltorb, Voltorb is a circle with eyes that evolves by turning it upside down.
Yeah,
I
like,
think
Genius.
also,
Yeah.
I think also the first couple gens, like, they were simpler, and they were also, like, kind of modeled after kind of more realistic stuff. Like,
no.
like
They didn't have ice cream Pokemon.
No, I knew you were going to say that. Magnet Pokemon. Why is a magnet Pokemon more interesting than an ice
Magnets are
cream
at least,
cone?
like,
There are
naturally-
2 Pokemon that evolve by
Magnets
just getting 2
naturally-
more and gluing them together.
Naturally in nature. I'm so smart. No, but magnets occur. Fucking ice cream doesn't. Sarcophagi don't either. I go into
Oh,
that.
yeah?
Stick 2 magnets
That
together.
made me laugh.
Oh yeah, Diglets. That's very yeah, that's real.
They're moles. Are you kidding me?
With
they're
no
a lot
nothing.
simpler now.
How
They've
many
pretty
moles do
much,
you see having threesomes all the time?
it feels like they've just been running out of ideas, and they don't look good.
No,
Well, there's like, what, 700 Pokemon? You'd assume they'd run out of ideas.
no, there's like millions of animals and items
Yeah,
in
they
the
have
world.
animals too.
Yeah, but a lot of animals look the same.
Yeah, there's only a certain number
Okay,
of
so
classes
that's an
of
argument for Pokemon. Some of them look the same. Woo!
I think my problem with it isn't the Pokemon ideas because I think they're fine. I mean, they're Pokemon that I don't like in every single generation.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not one. I think actually the one I hate the most out of any generation for Pokemon is probably 4. But
Yeah,
like
4
all the
is
ones
mine
that
too.
evolve from old ones, I like more.
Yeah.
Like Togekiss is probably my favorite Pokemon now, but that's just me. Everyone will disagree. I don't give a fuck. But what I don't like is the formula they have for Pokemon for some reason. Like every single generation, no matter what, in the first grass, there's always the generic bird, the rodent, and then eventually you move on to like
A dog.
Everything else.
yeah, like well, there's everything else, but there's also always ones that are specific for the console, like Plusle and Minun and Volbeat and
Electabuzz and Magmar.
Sapphire and all that. And there's always the ones that are just for that. Like you could tell they're put in there for that generation.
Yeah.
It's just like annoying. I want them to change it up. Like I want to fucking find like a psychic type in the very first time, which is you can actually do it with Ruby and Sapphire with Ralts, which I was surprised. Like super rare. But, I mean, I want like fucking out of the blue Pokemon from the start. I want to wait until the very
You want
end.
to just like pretty much completely randomize the entire place.
It's fun to play like that when you
Change
use a
up.
mod and you put
Yeah.
the
First grass,
randomizer.
you get a Raikou.
Like a dungeon crawler kind of style almost, but not because keep the map the same, but like randomize the Pokemon you can get in each thing, like different places.
They could also make it so you could run into Pokemon that you like can't beat at first, or like they're really tough and you're
Yeah,
supposed
you have to
run
run away. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of RPG style, I guess.
Yeah, but that
I just like
doesn't
to
really
point out
exist.
that we stopped talking about nostalgia a long time ago.
Yeah.
We
We're
never
talking
really talked about it.
Pokemon now.
As soon as somebody mentioned Pokemon, the Pokemon page just became like.
Moving on.
almost-
I just wanted to use Pokemon as my main thing for nostalgia.
we go back to nostalgia, though?
Yeah, we can talk about whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
I have found
I'm
I've
trying
been rebuying games that I used to play, like that I played a while ago, and then I sold, and then I'm like, oh, kind of, I have that nostalgia thing of either I hear like music from it or something, and I'm like, oh man, that game was so good, and I get it, and I play like literally like 5 or 10 minutes, and I'm like, why did I get this game?
Yeah.
Like it
The
just
opposite usually happens for me. Like I replay games, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so good.
most of the time for
But-
me, I'm just like, well, this was good, but why did I want to play this so badly?
Yeah, that happened to me with Fallout when I borrowed it from you. I was like, why don't
Fun.
I just want to play Fallout really bad right now? And I played it. I played for actually a long time, but still.
That's the same thing happened with me in Fall, though. I mean, I let Kirsten borrow it because she wanted to try it out. And I hated it at the time. Like, not hated it, but I was so sick of it playing it because I beat it. I'm like, well, I'm fucking done. And I watch her play it, and like all of a sudden, like, I want to play. Kirsten, are you almost
You're
done?
back.
Can I have it back now? Right.
What were you going to
So,
say, Sam?
what I was gonna say about nostalgia was kind of complicated. So give me a second to figure it out. We could go over like in a different episode how different people look for different things in games, and that's why like two people with similar tastes can go into a movie or like get a game, and one loves it and one hates it. And hold on, I was gonna tie that into nostalgia somehow.
Somehow.
Yeah. So, that's what I was gonna say. Okay. So like, there's no objective good or bad when it comes to quality or things like that. I mean, yeah, they're pointers. Like you could say that Uncharted 2 is better than The Walking Dead Survival Instinct or something like that. I mean, pretty much nobody's going to argue with you on that point. But that's just because a lot of people, I don't know. But anyway, so when it comes to nostalgia, you can't really say that this game is worse, even though a person... Well, hold on. So say a guy likes Generation 1 Pokemon a lot and doesn't really like the new generations of Pokemon, and they're pretty much indistinguishable. You can't really say, like, no, Generation 1 is worse or it's the same and Generation 5 is better or anything like that. Because to the person who's playing it, like, all those childhood memories of Generation 1 are infused with it, and so it is better. And you can't really, like, separate those things. And so it just has something for that person that it doesn't for the other person. So you can't just say, "Oh, nostalgia's dumb," because like it's just another like kind of preference.
Well, like the thing I always thought was because I always get nostalgia battles with my friends because one of my friends is really intense in Nintendo and all the old games, and like the thing is, if you want to like get into it, games like Uncharted 2 and new games technically are better than old games. I mean, if you're jumping, because like Mario and Zelda at the time were the top games of that time, because that's like the best you could do. But I'm just saying, like from a technology standpoint, these new games are better. It's just like I said, the nostalgia is what blocks.
Not necessarily in design, but just like in bits per whatever. I don't know. I don't know technical terms, but like the number of pixels represented on screen. Yeah, they're better. Obviously, nobody could argue that. But it doesn't mean they're necessarily better than new games.
No, I know. I just use Uncharted as a reference because that game was like perfect for most people. I'm just saying that like if you like even if you compared Survival or Walking Dead Survival Instinct to the very first Mario game, I'm sure people playing it, most people would say Mario is better. But I'm just saying that when you compare like the two perfect games of different time periods of their time, like if you compared Metal Gear Solid 1 to Heavy Rain, I mean completely different games. I'm saying, but like technologically, Heavy Rain is better, but I'm just I'm trying to get at like.
So you're saying games are subjective?
I guess, yeah. It's just
not really. Just saying that technologically speaking, new games are better, which is pretty much a given anyway.
That's what people really think about.
Yeah. Yeah. I forget what I was going to say. I was going to say something about people sticking with Nintendo and like not giving it up and just playing the same thing over and over again and not.
Yeah, like that's one thing that's bad about nostalgia is if you reject new things because they don't live up to your old expectations. Like it's not bad, I guess. I mean, they can do that if they want, but it's just going to deprive them of good experiences.
Well, do you think nostalgia is good for like developers?
Well, yeah.
If new developers are like they're big fans of Mario, so they basically take ideas from that and they implement that into their game.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at Braid. It's Mario like quote unquote clone with new mechanics. I'm not saying it's ripping off Mario by any means. I'm just saying it's the foundation of the gameplay is Mario, but it's got the time mechanics which completely change it up. So like that's one element of like nostalgia design that can help the designer, but. Nostalgia as a concept, yeah, it's a great thing because it really like when you combine like childhood memories and that happy carefreeness with just like regular games, it becomes something special, and that's not like something that we should just like, oh, nostalgia's dumb, take it out.
I tend to say nostalgia. I don't like what nostalgia does to people because it really.
Well, yeah, if you take anything too far,
because I kind of have a bad. Example in myself because like I bought the Wii and I was like, I'm not gonna buy a PS3, I'm buying a Wii. I like Nintendo, like come on. And then for like 2 years 2 years It was just like, oh, I'm only playing this Wii. I'm not going to get those other things at PS3 and the Xbox. No way. Why would I buy that? I like Nintendo. And I was always arguing that the Wii was better because it was Nintendo. Like, you couldn't play Mario on the PS3. Why would the heck would I get a PS3? I was just like so blind. And then eventually, obviously, I got a PS3. And then I was like, why was I doing that? And now I'm still saying, like, to other people, like, why are you just still playing Mario games? You're just playing the same thing over and over again. Like, why how is that not getting to you?
Well,
it's getting boring.
That's just bias. So it's not necessarily
Well, they could just
nostalgia's
prefer
fault.
Mario
It's just
games,
people's
so, you know.
flawed human nature. I'm so redundant.
Meh. All right. Well,
Ah,
got another thing that we could talk about. We've got some anything about DLC. There's always arguments flowing
Yay.
about.
DLC.
Who wants to
Yeah.
start with the Metro game that's coming out?
Oh, that's dumb. But we can
See,
The
I have.
$5 hard mode DLC that you get with your pre-order.
I mean, nobody's going to argue that that's like something they should do. They already have it made. And okay, I can segue into what I was going to say with this. There's two types of DLC. One's the DLC, like quote unquote on disc DLC, that's already been made before the game has been finished, and that's in my opinion a no because like if it's made before the game is finished, you're basically just holding it ransom behind a pay barrier and having people like shell out extra cash to get the full experience. But if it's like, there's another type of DLC, like either post-mortem, where you start making new content after the game's been released, or like in between when the game is golded and it's like being shipped off and the developers have no job or anything like that and they haven't started working on a new IP, then they can start working on DLC or something like that, and that's fine. But the problem is it's difficult to distinguish between one or the other, you know? You can't tell whether it was made before or after unless it's already on the disc, and I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
EA is notorious for on-disc DLC, but yeah.
I don't really get all the hate. Like, EA, I feel, gets a lot of hate for people just being dumb. Like, they have had on-disc DLC in the past, but they're also not as bad as everyone say. Like, they are a business, and they're
Not literally Hitler. They just have a couple of policies that aren't the
Isn't
best.
Capcom a lot worse with on-disc DLC, though? Like, they released the Street Fighter game, or whatever, which one it was. And they literally had, like, a bunch of characters locked on the disc and charging $5 a piece or something.
But still, even with it, like, I agree with Sam on, like, on-disc DLC, like, before the game is finished and they do that, that's something I don't like. But if DLC comes out, like day one DLC or something, people, like, if you don't want the DLC, just don't buy it. It's as simple as that. Like, don't get all mad and stuff. Like, just don't buy it.
Well, sorry. I'm trying to, like, talk before I form my opinion. But what's different between day one DLC and on disc?
Well, most of the time, like, day one DLC is mostly just, it's not like extra story stuff. It's just these added bonuses most of the time. Like in any game, like a couple extra,
Weapons.
I don't know, like extra,
Like
maybe an
armor.
extra mission or like half an hour extra of stuff that doesn't really, you don't really need it. It's not pertaining to like the actual story of the game.
It's just for the developers to make a little bit of extra money.
Exactly.
If they could
They
have
need
put
money.
that in the game, but they didn't, then I'd probably still be against that. But I don't know. It's kind of a gray area, to be honest.
They need money,
But,
man. People are
like-
torrenting their games anyways.
Railing against DLC as a whole is kind of stupid. Because, like, before the age of the internet where everything was freely available and people could just download whatever they wanted, you wouldn't ever get DLC, obviously, because there was no downloadable for the downloadable content.
The thing,
But
like before, DLC was an expansion pack before.
Yeah,
These things had like substantial amount of like
of content.
content in them. Nowadays, it's, hey, you want some extra multiplayer skins? $30.
it's not going to be $30. Nobody'd buy it.
I'm just
And, like, multiplayer skins are one thing that I'm not against, because, like, yeah, they could put it in, but it's not going to substantially increase your satisfaction with the game unless you're like a diehard fan, you just want the skin. And even then, it'd probably gain more value to you by being locked behind a pay barrier, because otherwise it wouldn't be special and everyone would have it. So.
But with something like that, what's bad about it? It's just letting people have
Yeah, exactly.
more fun, and it's
Cosmetic
getting them
things
more
especially
money.
are
Yeah.
not, I don't view them as insidious or anything at all.
Like,
well, see about it is it takes away a bit of the challenge to it a bit too, because I remember in Uncharted 2's multiplayer, there's one skin you could only get by getting the platinum trophy, and so some people would have it, some people wouldn't. But then at
Well, that's
Uncharted
cool, but-
3, you could get the exact same skin just by buying it. And so you could pay 99 cents, get the skin, and everyone could get every single skin, every single gun, every single everything pretty much, and there was no like skill behind it anymore. So I almost wish that they would replace some things, like the very best or coolest ones, with like challenges. Like if you get the platinum trophy for like Modern Warfare 2 or something, you get a special gun in multiplayer that's like a little bit better. Yeah, I don't know, not just something that shows you're different from all the other people.
That's one type of DLC that I definitely don't like, is when it's
Is it
something
like
that you can
paid
get anyways.
oh,
But then instead you can pay for it and get it faster. That's stupid. I
To
hate
be
when you do that.
fair,
Like
in
don't
Uncharted, okay.
just let you unlock it through challenges.
Wait, I don't understand why you don't like that though, because it's just more options, really.
Well, as long as it's not like a pay to win, where if I pay money instead of leveling up, I can just get the very best. Like most of it, like pay to win is like with first person shooters. If I just pay an extra $5, I can get like the very best gun instead of spending 20 hours or something to level up and get that gun the harder way. I don't like that. That's
Yeah,
not.
That's the reason why Jesse doesn't like it, is because if you can pay for it or do this incredibly hard challenge, it takes away the point of the challenge.
Yeah.
Like some
Yeah.
people, like it shows like some 5-year-old can just, or not 5-year-old, some like 10-year-old buy a
So
skin.
just 10 is better.
Well, still, you know what?
Some 10-year-old with a credit card can just
Some kid
outspend you.
just take his parents' credit card, can buy the challenge that you spent like an entire week like rigorously trying to accomplish, and then he can just say, "Oh, I did the challenge," and you'll never know.
That's like paying for trophies. If you could just pay and be like, "Hey, I want this. If I can just pay $10, I'll get the platinum immediately." Oh,
I
To be fair,
Microtransactions
people
for
do pay for
PS4.
trophies. They like have people get the trophies for them. So
I'm gonna start doing that.
But
I see.
on like the topic of just DLC as a whole, I do feel like in general DLC is a good thing if it's like some substantial like story thing after the fact, because like many games where I've like put on my shelf and would probably never go back to, like Borderlands as an example, and Borderlands 2, DLC makes me go back to the game and makes me play it a lot longer than I would have before.
All right,
That's
As long as it's not just like some stupid thing like with Borderlands, it's actually like a 6-hour smaller campaign with all these extra missions on it, which is like a good amount of content, and that's fine because I would never play the game again otherwise.
That's actually like the reason I came up with this topic is because I wrote like that I don't understand why people like single player DLC so much, and like I guess like everyone's always like I only want to buy DLC for this game if it's actually single player DLC, not multiplayer DLC. I feel like I'd never want to buy single player DLC, and the only reason I would ever get DLC is if it was multiplayer.
Well, the thing is, like if a game has single player and multiplayer, and people want like single player DLC more, I don't know, that sounds like the multiplayer is kind of a tacked on thing or something that like people don't care about, and they care about the single player. So having more single player DLC in that game, just hey, I love these characters, I love the story that they have, I want to continue it, I don't want it to end, so I want to see what happens next, or I want to have like some backstory on all these characters, and I just want to spend more time with them.
Doesn't like I don't understand that, like, because like when I'm done a single player game, it's over. Why would it continue? Why would there be more? I
Because you want to stay in the universe and check out a different story. I mean, as long as it's divorced from the main storyline, then I'm fine with that. If it's just like essential add-on that you need for a complete experience of the game, then that's like EA territory. Cough, Mass Effect,
Like,
cough.
not with EA. Like EA stuff does like, I don't know if they've had like one where hey, this is essential to the story, but we're gonna cut it out and make you pay for it.
Mass Effect, Leviathan DLC, from what I've heard.
it's not really essential to the story.
Yeah,
though.
it's not. No, like I never played it, and it wasn't really what
like
I
it's
do.
a bonus, but it's
Yeah.
not essential for you to understand and get the whole thing or anything.
What does come to mind is in Deus Ex Human Revolution. There's a part in the game where he just asks the main character. He's like, "Where have you been?" He's like, "I can't really remember." And then they just keep going on, and like a month after the game came out, they had the missing link. Hey, what happened in this?
What?
in this thing, and it was like $15 for what happened in these missing days where he just disappeared and no one knew.
I don't remember that happening.
I don't remember that either.
It's it's when he wakes up. He was in like some box or something, and he hides and he wakes up on like a ship, and he asks Jensen, he's like, "Where have you been?" He's like, "I can't remember."
I still don't remember that at all.
But
I can't remember it.
Oh, it should have been Batman DLC, where he's Batman in another...
No, he's Inspector Gadget.
DLC, I mean,
Go Gadget, grab the voice.
DLC doesn't really work. Like, I agree with you for games that are super linear, like games like Devil May Cry or something like that, where it's just you run through, you do stuff, and like kill a bunch of guys, and then the game's over. I agree for that. But like for games like Skyrim, or when it comes to mind is Dragon Age. Like Awakening for Dragon Age is incredible.
Yeah,
It's an entirely new game, basically.
Yeah.
And I think it was $40 when it came out, and it's almost as long as the full game. And it's like incredibly rich. It's something like completely new. And I love it. Like I recommend it to anyone who likes Dragon Age and plays it. But
yeah,
the
for
reason
sure.
why is because it's just like it's one of those things where it's an open world, so there's no one defined story or no one defined set of characters. There's a lot of extra things you can do, and just a way of exploring more than what you get in the initial game.
Yeah,
It's just being able to do more in that universe, like anything from like Fallout or Borderlands or Dragon Age that has good DLC, but
that makes more sense. The reason I was saying is because sometimes I see like on forums or on articles, people in the comments will be like, "Oh my god, really? It's multiplayer DLC. I wanted single player DLC." But I'll see that for games like Uncharted or Tomb Raider or like Resistance, Killzone, games that are linear, have a set story, it ends, but they also have a multiplayer, and people are always...
It's because you just want to spend more time with those characters, and you want to know as much about them as you can because you care about those characters, and you want to spend more time in the universe.
That's why I almost
Not
wish
necessarily with those characters either.
maybe
Like,
play as Drake more.
Ooh, I would play it Sully.
Like Revengeance, it's in the same universe, same style of gameplay, but a different character and slightly different mechanics, which is cool. That's the kind of story DLC that I'd appreciate.
What? Revengeance? What do you mean?
Yeah, they have DLC.
They have the Jetsam, or I
Okay.
don't forget what it's called.
I thought
Jetsam
There's the
Sam or
Blade
something
Wolf
like that.
DLC too coming out this week, I believe.
Like I'd say the Fallout
Stop
3,
smacking your lips.
the Fallout 3 DLC or the Borderlands DLC are like some of like DLC that's done right. Like it's a substantial amount of content, new characters, or like a new area and stuff that just
Borderlands DLC is the only DLC I've ever cared about, other than multiplayer DLC, which is when I was playing Call of Duty, so I guess that's the only DLC I care about. Even like Dark Souls DLC came out, and I just don't care. I don't like DLC. I guess I'm like the only one, but whatever.
That's fine, but
You
you're
don't wanna
like
play more Dark Souls content? I don't understand that.
you're not a vocal person about it, or like you should stop doing this. Like most people are just like
I don't want them to stop. I don't care.
the vocal minority of just people like this is so dumb stuff. Like if you don't like it, simple, just speak with your money. Don't buy it. You don't have to tell someone this is. You don't have to like say on a comment or a forum, this is so dumb. This company is Hitler. I'm going to buy another game.
Worst company in America.
Yeah, exactly. Just,
That was ridiculous.
yeah, like that's retarded. That's really, really retarded. It's just don't buy it if you don't like it. Like same with microtransactions. I know they might be like with Dead Space. There's a big thing of microtransactions in there that you could like augment your guns. But the thing is, like if you don't like it, like that, the industry's changing. That's what happened. Like stuff changes like that all the time. So if you don't like it, just don't buy it. That's like
All right.
That's what I feel with it.
Well, on that topic though, double XP, like Mountain Dew double XP, or pre-order for a free week of double XP for the game. How about that? Is that different?
Pre-order, I don't have a problem with. Mountain Dew,
That's the gamer's dream.
Guess not.
It should be like buy lettuce and get double XP.
I mean, that happens
lettuce.
with other industries all the time, so why not with the games industry? I mean, it's increased commercialization, which isn't a bad thing, but it's not necessarily like, oh god, this is terrible.
They could have at least picked healthy things.
Yeah, buy celery, get double XP. I'd buy so much celery. No, but
Buy Pokemon cards.
there was something I was going to mention just a while back. Oh yeah, people complaining about DLC you mentioned. They have a right to complain, I think, if it's like it could have been a part of the game, but it was held hostage, something like that. Because
I do agree with
even
that.
if
It's just like after the fact, the game's like about to come out and they're like, hey, we have this DLC, but it's not really pertaining to the story, it's just added, then if you want to buy it. If you
But,
don't,
like,
don't.
What's
if
wrong
they're
with them
just, like-
doing it though?
If they do what you say, like, oh, I'll just vote with my money and not get the DLC, then they're like losing a piece of the game that they might have otherwise gotten.
Well, I mean, like, games are expensive, and developers, lots of people buy used, so developers need to make as much money as they can, so DLC is just a way for them to make more money, because when it comes down to it, it's a business, and they need to make money, or else games, like, they
else
can't make games
THQ.
anymore.
I can't remember who said it. I want to say it was Bethesda, but I know that they were in an interview and they're talking about how when they make a new game, like when it comes out, they immediately start thinking about DLC because that's where a lot of their money comes from. Because since like used games like GameStop has come out, they've lost a lot of profit from that.
Exactly.
But, like they immediately start thinking about DLC. Like
It's yeah.
as soon as it's done.
It's how to keep people invested in your game and keep them playing it, as well as like getting more money. But
It also keeps like bringing the game back on like websites and stuff. It'll be like articles will start coming up about it again, and people will be like, "Oh yeah, that game. I was gonna get that. Let me go get that."
yeah,
Speaking of developers losing money on what's it called, like new stuff. That's why used. That's why I'm interested in like the rise of digital distribution, because I'm pretty sure like they get profit still from that, right? Like
Yeah.
all
It is,
digital
but
distribution,
it's a lot
Yeah.
less. Like when it's a
unless
used
the rights
game,
are bought.
Yeah, when it's like a used game, GameStop basically gets everything. I think.
Yeah.
GameStop gets it all. Developers don't get. Once like it's sold back to GameStop and then it's sold as used, the developers or publishers don't see any of that money anymore. It all goes to GameStop.
Yeah, like when they buy a new game, GameStop, I think my manager said it was 3% GameStop gets from new games, and then used is 100% GameStop.
So that's why they're always pushing. Hey, we have this
Yeah.
new copy, but hey, this used copy's $3 cheaper. Yeah, $5 cheaper the week after.
And before we move on to like this stuff, I wanted to say something I thought about. Since Pokemon X and Y will be on the 3DS only, that'll be the first Pokemon game that can have downloadable content.
Oh, yeah.
Downloadable Pokemon.
Charizard level 100.
Oh my god. Oh
$5.99.
god. They're gonna-
Pre-order now to get
They're
this.
they're gonna do it with the legendary. They're gonna be like, you can't obtain this normally. Either go to this event or pay $10. They're gonna do it.
$5.99 to unlock Distortion World.
They're literally.
I'm
they're
sorry,
gonna,
but you need the Dollar Stone to pass this entry.
Oh god.
That'll
Buy
be,
the Elite
that'll be a new
Forces.
evolution. You have to buy the stone, and it's like money.
But
Pokemon microtransactions.
The money type.
They would make so much money off
Money
of that.
type. Super
Pre-order
effective
for a
against
free
everything.
week of double XP. in
Just like if
Pokemon.
they were to do like Pokemon Skylanders ish, they would make so much money.
Well, they tried to do that, but it wasn't a game. I remember there was like figurines out. They had it for like a year, and then it just stopped. They were gonna make a season 2, but then they didn't do it because it wasn't selling very well. But the figurines are so cool looking. Like I wish they did more, but
if
One
we can
game-
stress one thing, it's buy new, don't buy used.
That's true. One game I
Or
was
just
gonna.
use a digital distributor. Like
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
that's still buying new.
Well, yeah, it's buying. Yeah, it's buying new.
One game I was gonna mention that was doing DLC. I was gonna say he's doing DLC wrong, but I guess I don't know. They're just doing it weird. I don't understand. Dragon's Dogma, just randomly. It came out last year. Now randomly they release. They didn't really even call it DLC. I think they're calling it an expansion. And
Oh, yeah.
you can't
Yeah.
buy it by itself. You can only buy it by rebuying the game. Like
Well, it's a
game of the-
completely new game.
But it's not. It's just Dragon's Dogma.
No,
with
they updated
extra-
No,
it.
it's completely new, basically, though.
What?
They updated
I mean-
a lot of the stuff, like so it runs. It's like Dragon's Dogma 2.0.
1.5.
It's all new content, too, I'm pretty sure. Like, there's nothing, like, story-wise or anything from the old game.
So it'd be like Dragon Age Awakening. It sounds like it's like the same
Yeah.
mechanics and stuff, but it's a whole new story and
Oh,
It's
They're
like-
also allowing you to transfer your save and your files over to the new one.
okay, yeah. So then it must be like
he's a
Awakening,
Dogma
where
fanboy.
it's like a full. It's pretty much like a full. Like 3/4 of a game, because that's what Awakening was. It was like 30-hour campaign of just importing your characters and kind of continuing in a different area with a new storyline.
I completely misinterpreted like everything about that. Then I thought it was they re-released the same game with the
No.
expansion in it,
No, that would be dumb.
and I was like, "What are they doing?" Why? I thought I don't know. Okay, I just thought it was something that you couldn't buy by itself. You had to rebuy the game to get it.
Something
Alright.
I thought about. It's not. It's kind of the same thing, but kind of different actually. But White Knight Chronicles 2. I know.
Yeah.
In order to play White Knight Chronicles 2, you had to have beaten White Knight Chronicles 1 and have a save file.
What? That's
And,
stupid.
Lock the game. Like I love that idea because like it forces you to play it so you don't jump into the storyline not knowing.
But also,
It came with it. It came.
Yeah,
with
it came with.
Oh, it came with it? Oh, I didn't know that.
it came with an updated version of number one. Like there was game mechanics and stuff in number one that people didn't really like and complained about. So I guess when it came out, like both of them were on a PS3 disc, and it was like an updated version.
Yeah, so like, it makes you play through the first one and then you can play the second one, which I think is a great idea. I wish a lot of like
Bundled with it, then yeah, I thought that was a good idea. But most of the time, I doubt developers or publishers would add the first game to it and then like, okay, now play it.
Speaking of White Knight Chronicles, the multiplayer is going to be ending. I think it's either the end of June or July. So
Who still plays?
if you're interested in the incredibly hard platinum, it's going to become even more impossible to get.
It's like a 500-hour plat.
500 to 1,000 hour.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
500 is if you play 24 hours a day and you are like the greatest.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
like more than I played when I was playing Call of Duty.
It's
So,
going to become one of the rarest platinums once the multiplayer ends. I can guarantee
oh,
you.
for sure.
All right. Well, we pretty much went through everything. Unless somebody else wants to, if you've got anything on your mind, if you want to
I'm
talk about.
Last of Us.
I knew support developers. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you say, Train?
But I'm in The Last of Us.
Oh yeah.
You're in The Last of Us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is.
Huh.
I won a contest. My name's
So-
going to be on dog tag.
No, he went
He's
in.
the main
and they-
character now.
Just completely. That's why I got
Ellie,
delayed.
Ellie, get over
Now
here.
I know why.
My friend and I were talking about that. Like, what if they made my infected a character in the game and you have to shoot him to get the dog tag and you pick up off his corpse?
I'm just gonna load last checkpoint and continuously shoot you in the head over and over.
Yeah, because I've done so much to you, haven't I?
They could bring like a motion capture thing to your house and capture you.
Oh my gosh, that'd be sick.
All right. Well,
Yeah, for Travis Christoph.
yeah. I will. I'll do it. Actually, I probably won't. I'll probably whatever. Well, I guess if I go for the platinum, I'd probably have to do that. It'll probably be a part of the trophies.
I'm upset. I didn't want a lot of collectibles, but I know that there's at least 2 different collectibles in the game, so I'm upset.
Yep.
That sucks. All right. Well, I guess we're done here.
Stop smacking your friggin' lips.
Okay.
End it on that. Just end it on that.
All right. It's over. See ya.